Power Rangers Turbo. The season people consider ruined Power Rangers, or considered the worst season, the one that killed the franchise. Honestly, I rewatching it, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Sure, it's a huge downgrade to Zeo and Mighty Morphin, but it was a step up from some of the episodes from season 3 in Alien Rangers. So, in my opinion, Turbo was not a bad season at all. I think people need to rewatch it because the first half was kind of meh, but the second half of it got a lot better with the character development and stories. The first half of it felt a little too goofy, but there's some goofy parts in the second part of the season. Oh man, it's blurry. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Shift into Turbo 1, 2, and 3. There's a 3-parter. And basically they use clips from the movie for some like flashbacks, talking to Rocky. And Rocky has to have the worst send-off in Power Rangers history. Because they're like, bye Rocky, whatever. And then he's never shown again after like the 3rd episode of Power Rangers Turbo. And Ernie's gone. He doesn't show up. He got replaced by Lieutenant Stone. Lieutenant Stone took over the Ernie's bar. It's kind of sad, but Shadow Rangers was one of the better episodes and probably the best episode of the first half of the season. Transmission Impossible was pretty good. Rally Rangers was kind of corny because they had like a play going and it was like the 50s and the actors, like the side actors, are acting like 1950s characters. Built for Speed, that was I think that was the one where Justin had a go-kart. No, by the way, I honestly don't feel like Justin was a bad character. I know a lot of people say, oh, he's the worst character. It's because he's a kid and he's a ranger. Yeah, sure, he was like a stereotype 90s kid, but honestly, he wasn't a bad character and he actually could fight better than Catherine. Bicycle Built on the Blues, if I remember correctly, it was one of the worst episodes on the entire Turbo episodes, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. It just wasn't really that good. Gelfhanger was really good. Wait and See. That is one of the best Catherine episodes, period, and she actually finishes off a character by herself. She's one of the only characters that didn't really finish off any of the characters, and she would always get her butt beaten in, not Turbo. Well, she gets beat up a little bit in Turbo, but I felt like they developed her character a little bit better in Turbo. Unfortunately, it got cut short, but, and I really like the Blue Centurion. I gotta redo my top 5 non-Ranger characters and replace Robo Knight with Blue Centurion because Blue Centurion was awesome. His whole police thing, I forgot how cool he was. Drive to Win, that actually shows the first appearance of Carlos and Ashley, and those two characters get developed because they become the Rangers later on. Cars Attacks, that was a pretty decent episode. They had like a Discount Kimberly looking character, which was Lieutenant Stone's niece. Honey, I Shrunk the Rangers was basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and it was a decent episode. And they had they're stupid, they're something, they smell bad. The Piranhatrons make the putties look good, and they make the cogs look like, the Piranhatrons basically suck. I like their designs in the show better than the movie. Passing the Torch, that was when TJ, who I feel is really underrated, Cassie, which was a better Pink Ranger than Catherine. Ashley and Carlos, which Carlos is a really good Green Ranger and he's a really good Black in Space Ranger. The Stitch Switchy whatever was an okay episode. It wasn't the best good impression episode. Oh, a Trouble by a Slice. We're here to toss your salad. Oh man, that was a funny episode. And oh yeah, Divatox is played by a different actor in the first half of the season, and they bring it back to the movie version. I didn't really notice it much as a kid, but of course I notice it now. The Phantom Ranger was really awesome. I wish we would know who the Phantom Ranger was. It was like the first half. And Vanishing Act was pretty good. When Time Freezes Over, that was a good episode. Our Darkest Day and Our New Hope, they introduced the Rescue Zords, which I really do like the Turbo Zord. And I do like the Rescue Zord, but I didn't think it was as good as the other ones from the past. But I really love the Spin Out. And oh yeah, and Shadow Rangers, like, a lot of the villains have weird female-ish, I don't know, like demonic, like all the villains kind of sound the same, and they're like more flamboyant and goofy. Divatox, she's an okay villain. She's a step down from all the other villains, and I remember somebody was doing a review on Elgor being really annoying, and they can't stand him. I'm like, when I was a kid, I'm like, he's not. I probably thought he was okay, but man, he is kind of annoying. And the other guy, I can't think of his name, not Porto, but the other dude, he's just a discount Goldar, but I feel like some of the episodes do feel like filler, but the Fall of the Phantom, Clash of the Robot Rangers was an interesting one. That's the one where it gets a little goofy, and the Gardener of Evil was really weird, where they had the human characters dressed up as like B characters when they get controlled. It was kind of too goofy. I don't know. I like Spirit of the Woods, but I also don't like it. I don't know. I just never liked that kid. The Okutan or whatever. I just didn't like him that much. The Song of Confusion. I love that episode, actually. Confusion, confusion, confusion. And The Accident, which is a really good Carlos episode. That's like personal stuff. And Cassie's Best Friend was a weird one. The Curveball was a good TJ episode. Carlos the Count was goofy. Little Strong Man was okay. The Rival Rangers, where Cassie and Ashley kind of go at it with the guy character. Parts and Partials, you actually see Bulk and Skull actually have some more development. They didn't really have that much development in Turbo because, first of all, they got turned into monkeys, and then they got turned invisible, and then in like Bulk and Skull were like spaced out, and like I don't know what the hell they were doing with Bulk and Skull and Turbo in the first half of the season. And Chase into Space, I just watched it today, and it is one of the best episodes of Turbo. And it's pretty brutal because the Megazords go down, one blows up, self-destructs, and the other one gets destroyed. And their weapons that they put together got blown up inside the monster, and they had to go in space. And I don't understand why. What's his name? Justin got, he somehow got the people to have them go in, the Rangers in space, which is weird. I don't know how a kid was able to do that, but it left a huge cliffhanger. Almost, man, their outfits were torn up, and they lose their powers. And I didn't like, what's her name, Demetria. I just didn't. And oh, I did not like Alpha 6. When they replaced Alpha 5, he's not as useful, and he goes, yo, yo, yo. It's just. They fixed the character in space with a different voice actor, but still, Alpha 6 was terrible compared to Alpha 5. And honestly, Turbo is not even really that bad of a season compared to Overdrive and Megaforce. It's not really that bad of a season, and in space was the one that saved the franchise basically, but Turbo apparently was the one that destroyed the franchise, and I don't think Turbo was not a bad. It really wasn't a bad season, guys. You gotta rewatch it. It was a little goofy. You had to step down from Zeo and Mighty Morphin, but I don't know. I just feel like the hate towards Turbo is a little too high. Also, I almost forgot. What happened to the Zeo powers? Like, they were supposed to be stronger than before, and, well, you remember in the movie, they showed it for 1 second and it was gone. And they upgraded to the turbo powers, which it seems like the turbo powers weren't stronger than the Zeo powers, in my opinion, even though they have super speed. But, I don't know. Also, I really did not like the first half of Divatox's plans with the bombs. It's like it kept on getting really repetitive. Um, I was like, I'm gonna put a bomb in this, put it in small places where the Rangers can't find it. You know, the monsters themselves are okay, but I just did not like her plans, and I really was getting annoyed by the Vita La Diva thing that she was saying. It was getting kind of annoying. But honestly, Divatox is not the worst villain in Power Rangers history, but she wasn't the greatest, but I still kind of like her. But, yeah, I'm still kind of bummed out, like, the Zeo powers just. They did not explain why they didn't use the Zeo powers anymore. I give Power Rangers Turbo a 7 out of 10.